excuse me, they're doing Napolitano and YouTubers and YouTube itself. A bunch of people recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed federal evidences crimes with names from other areas who planted evidences on my street with one's named Cololo and Smith, who are involved with one's named Dylan, and a guy who said he was a partner of his. Increasingly on off the state corrections offices and judicial branch offices, and names involved with foreign and domestic military, who have roles also with the names on off the World Trade Center attack at the World Trade Center and spots next to it, like the Ninth Circuit Court. And they have been lying about why people want to get heard because WFSB attached me to fake conversations. They are preventing me from working, worse than extortion and torture, as roles with this leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and since. Harper courts, family members, and people tied to them intimately in the Britain Superior Courts, they had effected confessions and requests to help to me at West Hartford locations. And it was also confirmations about uses of those locations by people involved with home break-ins in my area through the time, and people involved with planting evidences interstates with state police and overt criminal enterprises, plural, and private ones, and their educators. They're putting fake things in databases from off campuses and then keeping the styles of fake integrity, pretending other anyway as a certain type of victim slash hyper victim, where the differences between the corruption at campuses A through Z is also recorded being and having been used. Also, where and how this is discernible is where and how the plan of James Madison that George Washington agreed to use and to help the founders behind him. We have that plan changed. We have narratives and nature's used to screen what came up, what forced the Constitutional Convention roles and what forced the Declaration of Independence roles, even though no one would have had the means to do that. Anyway, they had to lie about their motivations because the breaching method measured and maintain everyone's collusion with itself means hurting everyone's self through ourselves and or helping them as collusions because the breaching method needed and needs criminal insidiousness natures of positive treatments and negative treatments with syntax, with conviction natures and styles to screen and prevent and to sense anyone with short words correct so they won't allow their protraction. We have criminally foreign influence and tactical delusions wrought readings of religious books that the sciences have collusions with, also the differences of it. Because on a mass scale, they attach people to fake conversations and about religion. All kinds of natures of organized crime involved personally and professionally, with all natures of law, private, formal, and other. The state judicial branch offices and the state corrections offices of Connecticut increasingly has roles with collusions with names on my street in Wethersfield, with names next to those locations, who are increasingly involved with wire crimes with Wethersfield Police with their Facebook page, and ones of in the New Britain Superior Court, the FBI, and Hartford courts. They have roles on all sides of criminal and civil cases and depositions leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and since, as Connecticut's roles with the interstates and internationally with the same names. Wethersfield Police confessed recorded people named Scalora involved with them with predicate acts on my street, and as the ones involved with untimely deaths on off Trinity College, and with the same house slash S involved through time with predicate acts next to Trinity College with them. Identity thefts and fraud, slanders. Joe Aiello confessed he has roles with foreign and domestic at fire department next to Trinity College, involved also with mayors, recorded with federal crimes with little kids with them. Identity theft, fraud. I never had a class with Joe Aiello in my life. He also has roles of people I never had classes with in my life who have been sticking fake things in databases with my neighbors and with names that have rules with home break-ins and sharing the same girlfriend that girlfriends involved with New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page, criminally foreign influence, forced the principal child abuser, and other natures of federal evidence crimes, federal rules of evidence crimes, whole methods of them. The courts have been refusing to identify themselves, switching names and making confessions and preventing writing since I was a kid to stack more and more collusions intercities. Increasingly, there's a Brian Silver tied to a Target, and where there used to be called Brittany Farms Road, and then they're changing the name of it. And those woods there associated with, in other words, Kyle Gill too is one of the people that recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. He has roles with Brian Silver and some prosecutors, a prosecutor named Salisbury, with houses next in an apartment, and the different owners of the apartment, and the maintenance people with and next in other places next to Central Connecticut State University, who have roles of planting evidences on the state corrections offices, on the state judicial branch offices in Wethersfield, and with names on my street, collusions with them. These are also roles with differences, rackets, like their religious spots, and others to pretend sense and sensibilities, to pretend legitimate uses of other people's names and what they think, like about why we're saying these things. Mandated law dictates you get them from the name switching and forging it onto paper. I want to know who disbelieves. Get them on paper. I went to the court a bunch of times. They prevented me writing since I was a kid. Increasingly, I was collusions with foreign bodies and criminal enterprises. The same names involved with wire crimes as the Wethersfield Police, falsified police reports, fake conversations with me they pretended through the news too. Has something to do, including Eric Oliveri, sought me out to make these confessions and demonstrate through time. He has roles with a Joshua Stryker and others at Trinity College with a Dean Alford involved with some murders and untimely deaths, identity thefts, and frauds. Joshua Stryker, I never had a class with him in my life either. I walked by him in a hallway one time, and that was the day after someone made a confession about it. I didn't make a response. In other words, playing coward games. So that military corruption with a Joshua Stryker and an Eric Oliveri involved with a Dean Judd and a Dean Alford and a Dean Judd's family members before the World Trade Center attack and after it. They're involved with people intercities, also on my street through time, involved with those same houses. They have roles with intelligence communities, families, members, other agencies that are family members of judges who have been speaking fake things into records, putting fake conversations with people into databases to keep roles with uses of all natures of investigators currently foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, just like the readings of statutes. That's their value. So please follow mandated law for them. They have the Facebook page of the Principal Child Abusers Campus, involved with the Joshua Julian, also involved with predicate acts on my street with Wethersfield Police, switching and forging names, with proven child offenders, and others in the past when they were involved with wire crimes with them too. They attached me to fake ties to fake conversations with Mendez brothers that are one of the ones involved with Phil Cololo, where Whiting Forensics has roles increasingly with names on my street and tied to them, like a Phil Cololo, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders. He pretended behind my back to my family that I was friends with him. He attached me to fake ties. He told lies to behind my back to my principal as collusions. I never saw him on my street too in my life, except for one time after the Bob Chase made the confession. So you guys are involved with violence on my street, and because in other words, and you're lying about responses to it and non-responses to it. I noticed that also recorded. So they're starting fights with people that have roles with wire crimes, with the police phones families through time, who also have their extended family members and people tied to them involved with the Ninth Circuit Court and the World Trade Center in the attack context, planting evidences roles. And roles with Connecticut names since that attach those names on all sides of their cases to fake and change communications with me. They've been doing this on a mass scale. That's a frustrating thing too. When since you're a kid, you're attached to fake communications with everyone's and changed communications with everyone around you, including your family member. So that's why you had to get them on paper. Fix the fake conversations with me, WFSB. Why are you leaking? I asked you nicely. You have Trantolo and Trantolo. Barely had any words with them at all. With the person he called back with the message. I pointed out the predicate acts. I didn't refer to it as a predicate act. You guys at WFSB attached me to fake conversations. They made up all the names with things with the principal child abuser. I still haven't gotten a response for his confessions. That's simple. You guys attached me to a conspiracy theory. So all along Route 3, Trantola and Trantola, also his roles with concerts. They have roles with child offenders and elderly offenders, people involved with the elderly homes, people involved with the communications locations, the difference of that and the news locations, because Russians are also involved. Ukraine at the same time, like with people with the name Peruta, who are also involved with corners of streets, involved with child offenders, leaders of the kids, and uses of their kids, involved people involved with their kids too, involved with the abuses of other kids, and the difference of that, because their kids are abused too. A through Z, you guys have other things, others ourselves, blame for things our founders communicated for us to blame on the breaching method. And our founders left us means, as nature shows us, there's a difference between what is communicated and what is said. There are people who pretend they believe in acts and actions, who have rules with predicate acts and with facts and need to pretend other, as styles, where this breaching method showed them how to read the law as criminal insidiousness natures. Certain type of victim / hyper victim, if they want that to be treated honestly, then they have to, not leave out the breaching method. Well, how to discern the breaching method? We have to show them all guilty at the same time anyway. That's all. That's you involved with this too. All sides of criminal and civil cases. The same names have role planting evidences with the courts and planting evidences, changing what's digitally recorded with the principal upskirt nature. There are women with the judges with the courts. They have roles with investigations, investigators next to WFSB before the World Trade Center attack in that context and sense. Whole bunch of people tied to Eric Burgess involved with foreign and domestic military all along Route 3 and its conjunctions. And like on off Century Hills has something to do with the people increasingly involved with, forcing people to beg for a response on paper. You guys are pretended through the mail. Alehi family forged names. Dr. Shamsi Ali told me they forged his name or implied that. Remember, he said they wrote that after he was not with them. Because I had the first of 3 times they forced me there, making stuff up each time. The first time I forced it more by forcing people to call the police, not telling them why. Then they had to cover up because they put fake conversations with me. So they made rape threats. And I told my mother nicely to call the police. She called and they arrested me. And they lied, and then they had fake conversations with me again. But this time, 2 times for 30 days. And they have judges and prosecutors with their family members involved with this Kalal family and this Demoro family and a Kerr family and mayors and Ukraine and Russians involved and playing games with the Facebook pages. A whole bunch of people with this. Chet Casper is also by one of the doctors confessed by and recorded by Anthony Yagman, involved with wire crimes in Wethersfield police and planting evidences on all sides of the campuses, also with the courts involved and medical families. A Dr. Dingleberry or Dewberry, he confessed, but he's also recorded roles with the Leahy family that works together with the mental health part of Harvard Hospital. That have been planting roles with a whole bunch of names, planting evidence with a whole bunch of names on my street since I was a kid. In other words, and they fake conversations with me with doctors as a kid and as an adult. I don't even know the Leahy family. They made me know him by repeating his name and have him walk by. Same way I know Janito Mendez, and he uses different names. These are also people with cultural rackets. The difference is time collusions with overt criminal enterprises, private, and overt criminal enterprises. There are some KKK themed, black themed, and Latino themed collusions with Eric Mendez with identity theft, fraud, slanders against people that weren't even in his classes that he doesn't even know. Now they're as adults, as brothers working with the Weathersfield Police Department, next to Fox Connecticut News and Harper. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. Collusions increasingly with people all along the conjunctions to Route 32, like and the Run Turnpike, like Hangdog Lane and Two Rod Highway. Also, people increasingly involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and narratives and confessions. When my sixth grade class from strangers tied to this, with this Mayor Gold and Chet Casper and their educators, and the one that used to live on the street near me, involved increasingly with my fifth grade teacher and fourth grade teacher, collusions with people tied to body dumping spots and the names next to them. Of Mr. Bernstein, also with the military, increasingly involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, little coward punks, and fake uses of it. In other words, that courage forced. In other words, all words. You guys are jumping in other people's conversations dishonestly. This is what should lead the algorithm mandated law. Someone saying, in other words, you don't change what people say and lie about their motivations. That's not how you read the statutes. But we had that done already. We already had sick collusions, blaming other things, other themselves, for the real causes of negative value nature, progressions, acts, natures. Like in New York City, these are also families that used to live in New York, involved with all kinds of medical corruption with the campuses. You fear God for the uses of the databases no one's looking into. Fear God. Get them on paper, one name and sequence, please.